Hello, everybody. Welcome to part 2 of analyzing Vivaldi's Four Seasons winter piece. I'm sorry to say this, but Jameson has been no-show for today, so I guess it's just me. So we already went through the first few measures. As you can see, I had to take a new screenshot. As you can see, it's officially Concerto number 4 in F minor, L'Inverno, Opus 8, RV 297. So I believe we were up to, let's just see what measure that. Measure 11, where we have two chords, as we can see. So we can see the bass is playing. So just a quick refresher, we're going to give F minor. We've had a couple different chords so far. This piece is meant to emulate winter, and it does that using some pretty dissonant chords. So let's get on with this. So it looks like in the bass here we have an A flat. Actually, no, that's a G, my bad. What was I saying? A flat, that's a G. So we have a G here in the bass. And then the treble part is playing the notes G, C, and E flat. That makes it a C minor over G chord. And moving on to the next chord in the bar, we see that the bass drops down an octave, where the treble plays the following notes: G, B, and D. So that's just a G chord. And then after this G chord, we get catapulted into this whole run of 30-second notes. This run of 30-second notes starts off on, what's that note again? So that note is, C. So this 30-second note run starts off on C, and we have a C minor chord to start off this run. As you can see, the upper note in the chord jumps from 1C up a full octave. So that's before descending from C to G to E flat, and then back to C to start all over again. So this makes it just a C minor arpeggio, basically. And then after a little bit of that, after a second repetition of that, we go from C to C again. But this time we get the following notes: B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D natural, before coming back to C. Bear in mind, there's a D flat in F minor, but this is a D natural, so it's apparent that we are in C minor. So this natural sign is pretty important for this. I don't like that color. I don't like that color too much. So just highlight that natural there. So this is important to say that it's D natural, because if we were in F minor, because in F minor, which is the original key of this piece, we have a D flat. So as you can see, it's just a run down the C minor scale. If you use D flat instead, it will be a run down the C Phrygian scale. Phrygian, let me just put this down. Phrygian is like minor. Didn't do that before too nicely. So Phrygian is like the minor scale, but the second degree is flattened. So, on C minor you have D natural, C Phrygian has D flat. And as a matter of fact, F minor is a mode of C Phrygian, or you can say the other way around, C Phrygian is a mode of F minor, and they are both modes of A flat major. A mode is when you take the notes in the scale and rearrange them so with a different note as a tonic. Like if we took the notes of C minor, as seen here, and rearranged the notes so that D was a tonic, so from D to D we would have D Locrian. Just fun fact. And then this measure concludes with another jump up to C, then it goes down the C minor scale again. Do I really need to write all these notes again? No, I do not. Although this one ends on a D. That's strange. D in the key of C minor is not a point of resolution. D natural wants to resolve upward to E flat. So it's kind of strange that we're ending the bar on this D. Except that's not so strange because, we end up going to a C right away in the next measure. So this D resolves directly to C. And then we have this G, C, E flat, which means that it's a C minor arpeggio. Let's just highlight these notes. So these notes, highlighted in yellow, this makes it C minor over G arpeggiated here. G, C, E flat, C, G, C, E flat, C. So that arpeggio actually continues a little further. So you can see, like, pretty much this entire measure is just a C minor arpeggio. Let me just highlight this in a different color. I'm going to highlight the chord label in... Actually, no, I'm going to highlight these notes in red. And highlight the chord label in red as well, because why not? And then after that, we just wind up with this C in the bass. That is sustained into this C is sustained until the end of the measure. So this C is just sustained till here. And then another C is in the bass clef. And then we have E flat and G here, so this makes a C minor chord still. So nothing too crazy there. And then we get another half bar of just C and G together. That is what rock musicians would call a power chord, but this is classical, so no power chords for us. And then we get catapulted into another run of 30-second notes that is pretty much the same thing as the first run. And then this time after that run of 30-second notes, when we catch our break, finally, you can see another dynamic shift here, by the way. We get just this stabs on C minor here. And then we get catapulted into yet another run of 30-second notes, this time starting with a C minor root position chord. This time it starts with C minor root position chord. Let me highlight this in blue, because why not? So this is a C minor root position, not C minor over G like we saw in the first two 30-second note runs. So this is something different. As you can see, we shift dynamics yet again as we get into this run. And it seems to be more or less the same. And besides for that one chord difference, it seems to be more or less the same as the first 30-second note, as the first two. Then after that, we get a break for a little bit, but it's not so much of a break from the tension. These two notes here. That's why I'm saying we don't get a break from our dissonance, because these notes are a semitone apart, C and D flat. So if you play the semitone apart, like as we heard in part one when we first listened to the piece, this part here, very rough. So basically, C to D flat is that's the semitone, the smallest interval possible in 12 equal temperament. And basically, the semitone is, some people say it's the second most dissonant interval, semitone and major seventh, and some people say it is the most dissonant, even more dissonant than the tritone. I personally would rank this as second most dissonant, with the tritone being the most dissonant, but let's get on to this. Well, speaking of tritones, we get one right after that. B flat and E, natural. That's a tritone. This one is spelled as an augmented fourth. Well, fun fact, the tritone is sometimes an augmented fourth and sometimes a diminished fifth. It could be either one. Here, as you can see, it's an augmented fourth, because B to E is a fourth, but because we have a B flat, it becomes augmented, wider. And now, we got this little run of 16th notes in the lower voice of the treble, and along with that, we see F in the bass, we see another F here, and we see an A flat, and then another F. So this implies an F minor chord. It's just without the fifth. It's just as missing its fifth. So Hold on a moment. I see something interesting in the next half note. It's a G flat. That doesn't belong in F minor. That doesn't belong in F minor at all. That belongs in one of the two modes that are darker than F minor, F Phrygian or F Locrian. And that might, at this G flat here, this G flat over here, just might be a clue as to why we don't have the fifth in this F minor chord. It could be that Vivaldi here is trying to imply a diminished chord, but maybe Vivaldi just decided we had too many tritones already, so he didn't want to play a full diminished chord. So he's just implying it by use of this F minor without the fifth, and then this G flat in the next measure, in the next half note. So as you can see, we have notes G flat, B flat, and F. This implies a type of G flat major 7 without the fifth. So this implies a type of G flat major 7 without the fifth, and then that's over F, because F is still the bass. And then now moving on, we could see that we still get some more 16th notes in the next measure, measure 21. And we see we have, this time, we get E flat in the bass. And then we get an F major triad in the treble. So this A natural here, this makes this an F7 over E flat chord. And the interesting thing about this is that we have a dominant 7th. It's an F major chord, but with a dominant 7th. And that dominant 7th is in the bass. Which means that between this bass note of E flat and this treble note of A, we have another tritone. So we have this tritone here. And then we are going to continue on. Now we get, in the next bit the next half note has a D flat. The next half measure has a D flat, F, B flat, D flat. So this is a B flat minor over D flat. That's actually no surprise coming from an F7 over E flat. So backtracking a little, this F7 over E flat chord, this could be analyzed in Roman numeral analysis, because after all this is classical, as the 5 of 4 chord, because it's the 5 dominant 7 that is a subdominant chord to the 4 chord. As you can see, that's exactly how it functions. Come on, more tritones? Well, I do see an F and a B here. B, D, F. And actually, wait, no. What am I saying? That's a B, D flat, and F. And there's another D flat here. We actually don't really have a proper label for this chord. We don't have a proper label for this chord if we assume that D flat or B is a tonic. However, if we assume, if we assume B is a tonic, we don't have a standard label for the chord with the notes B, D flat, and F. However, if we treat D flat as a tonic, we just might have a standard label. D flat, F, B, D flat. You know what this implies? That's right, it implies a D flat 7 chord. And let's see, where will this resolve to? D flat 7 could resolve either, if you're feeling super jazzy, to C major or C minor for that matter. Or, if you're going more traditional, D flat 7 resolves to G flat. Well, let's see what happens. We do not see a G flat in this chord, so what are the notes here? Good question. We have C, G, C, E, C. We have 5 notes here, but it's only triad because there's really only 3 distinct pitch classes. This is a C major chord. This is, if I had to guess, this C is probably going to resolve to F minor. Let's see what happens. Well, once again, we embark on a 30-second note run. We have the notes G, E, G, E, G, E, just keeping on going between the G and E, building up that tension. And now we get over this structure of this C power chord, we get E and G, so that keeps up that C chord. And then, you know what happens in the next measure? We get F in the bass, A flat in the treble, and C also in the treble. So that's right, that C chord resolves to F minor, just like you'd expect it to. And of course, this piece doesn't give us too much of a break ever. This piece never gives us too much of a break, annoyingly. So that's right. It's time. That's right. It's time for more 30-second notes. So we get so let's just see what we got here. We got a B flat. We got an A flat, and we got a D flat. So the question is, what chord is that? B flat, D flat, and A flat. That kind of rings a bell. I think it's a suspended chord here. Sus chords. Or you could think of it as an A flat. Actually, no, it's not a suspended chord. What am I saying? It's actually a B flat minor 7. That's implied here. So over here we imply a B flat minor 7 chord. Like it sounds like a suspended chord at first. I know 3 flat notes, but it's not quite a suspended chord. It's actually a B flat minor 7. I know I just said that. B flat, A flat, and D flat. Do you see where that comes from now? The root flat third, and flat 7th of a chord. But the 5th is omitted, so that's strange. Maybe Vivaldi just doesn't want to use another tritone because he's used so many already in this piece. So maybe he's trying to imply B flat half diminished sort of sound, but he doesn't want to include the diminished 5th. Well, let's just see what happens after that chord. Well, actually, we do get the 5th. As it turns out, we do get the 5th right over here. All these F naturals, that's a 5th in the B flat chord. That's a 5th above B flat. So we can just call this B flat minor 7. Now what do we get? Let's find out. So we have E flat and G, B flat, D flat. Actually, wait, no. Actually, yeah. Now we get an E flat 7 chord. And then we're going to get this, this actually kind of looks like a 2-5 in the key of A flat. Is that where this takes us? A flat, a G, and a C. So that, and I do see E flats here, so this does take us to an A flat major 7. I know I'm not writing so neatly here, but please forgive me for my messy handwriting. But yes, that did take us to an A flat major 7, just as it was supposed to. And then now on to measure 25. Let's see, we have a D flat and an F, A flat, and C. So now we get a D flat major 7. That's our 4 chord in A flat, or a flat 6 chord in F minor. We are supposed to be in F minor, so let's call this flat 6 chord. Then we get E flat. Actually, no, what am I saying? G, F, and B flat. I know. B flat, G, F, and G. That is, and I do see D flats here. So this is a G half diminished 7th chord. Although many people do not know what half diminished even means, so we're going to call this a G minor 7 flat 5. Just when you thought we were done with all the dissonance, we get a half diminished 7th. And then Hey, this looks like it actually might be setting up a 2-5-1 in the key of F minor. Now we get, yeah, I think that's right. Now we get the C7. What did I just do? I forgot to use 2 fingers. So that gave us a C7. And now we are starting these runs again. Now we're starting another 30-second note run. And it looks like we have an F and another F. And it looks like up here we have F and A flat. So I guess we could call this kind of F minor chord. It's not perfectly F minor, but it's close enough. And then as you can see, we just get just doing a bunch of runs like in the key of F minor here. Just a bunch of 30-second notes. And then we get a repeating motif of C, D flat, E flat, F. That gives us a kind of C Phrygian sound, if you ask me. Measure 28 we're up, And now we come down that same motif. And then, what's this? This looks like a scale. That's going to be F, G, A. Yeah, it's an F minor scale. I don't even have to label every single note. I could just see it's an F minor scale. F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F. So it's an F natural minor scale that is running up, that Vivaldi chooses here for this run. And then we get, from there we get to a similar thing to what we had earlier, but this time it's B flat, C, D flat, and E flat. So it's starting it's trying to do a B flat minor scale here. And then it comes down, just like it did with that C Phrygian feel. And now we get the E flat Mixolydian scale. We run up that scale twice, it looks like. And the way I know it's E flat Mixolydian is because it's using no accidentals. It runs from E flat to E flat, and the key signature has 4 flats. So that's how I know it's E flat Mixolydian. And then, of course, we're going to get some more stuff going on here. We're running from A flat to D flat. And then going back down again. And now we are getting we're getting a whole pattern of crescendos and diminuendos and crescendos and diminuendos and crescendos and diminuendos. I don't know how long this pattern goes on for, but I just listened to the piece again before starting this screen record. So that's how I know it's all these crescendos and diminuendos. So it looks like every 4th 30-second note is accented. So it looks like the first 30-second note is accented, and then after that, every 4th 30-second note. So basically, there's an accent on the 8th notes. So it looks like we get the notes here are E, and if we treat this E as part of a chord built from the first 8th note of the bar, the first half note of the bar in the bass, and the first 32nd note of the bar in the treble, we could see that that's going to be a C, E, and B flat give us our notes. So this is implying a C7 type of sound. So that's a C7 there. And we diminuendo and crescendo again and diminuendo again and crescendo again. So let's see how long this crescendo will go on for. It's just a bit crazy. It's just a little bit crazy here. Then we get a short break from all the dynamic changes at measure 34. And now we're getting more 30-second notes. This time, however, we have a proper chord with the notes F, C, F, A flat. That makes this an F minor chord. Hold on, where did my markup tools go? Let's try this. Here we go. So that gives us an F minor chord. At least we finally catch a break from the dissonance of that C7, right? The next chord, however, more tritones. I guess Vivaldi just loved tritones. And I could see why he used so many tritones in this piece. It's supposed to emulate winter. And to me, winter is like the darkest time there is. Like, winter is like one of the saddest and darkest times there is. The only other time is during the Jewish month of Av, because that's when both holy temples were destroyed. But Av comes out during the summer usually. Av is a summer month, so it's very bright, but also it's very light but sad. So winter is but I see where these tritones are coming from. Winter, it's definitely very dark. And the tritone is a very dark sound, isn't it? So we see that here we have this tritone here. It starts by sitting still for a while. Like, not completely sitting still, but it's not completely sitting still. But then you've got, because you have these C naturals there that are interrupting the tritone. But I think that's all meant to be part of the chord. I see F in the bass, and I see A natural, and I see a C, and I see E flat. That makes this an F7 over, actually no, not over anything, because F is a bass note. So F is a bass note, and then we're crescendoing again, and then we get this structure in the bass of B flat, D, F. Wow, that's a B flat major chord. I wonder what B flat major is doing in this piece in F minor, because F minor is supposed to have a B flat minor chord, which we actually saw earlier in this piece. So this B flat continues for half a measure, and we are actually going to pause here because, I'm out of time. So, God willing, I'll catch you in the very next video. Mashiach now.